If you're here, you have already at least wanted to throw something, stomp furiously, and possibly cry yourself to sleep as you have wondered, how do I buy a flight from Jakarta to Bali? Or something like that. All you want is a single domestic ticket. But no, you cannot buy one. This video will be set to the backdrop of me swimming in an infinity pool in Labuan Bajo, which is the gateway to scuba diving in Komodo National Park. I'm going to tell you the story of how I got myself to Labuan Bajo, which is the same story as to how you might try to get yourself to Bali. Hopefully, these lovely imagery of me swimming in a pool will lower your blood pressure. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And now release. Good. The short answer, if you don't want to listen to this whole video and just watch me swim back and forth and back and forth, is you have to buy it from a third party. I used kiwi.com. And that's all that it comes down to. Just go use a third party to buy a flight, and they'll accept your payment. Shall I tell you a story? If you're anything like me, you probably have a strong preference to buy tickets from the airline. In the United States, if you buy a ticket from a third party, it means that you get no mercy when it comes time to change flights. Your money is gone, and you can cry about it. They don't care. And if they did, they don't have any power at all. You're stuck with what you buy from a third party. Same true in Indonesia too. But at least you can buy a ticket this way. So you've learned just like me. We buy it from the source because only an airline can help with their own problems. It was my dream to fly from Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia, airport code CGK, to Denpasar, that's Bali, DPS. And then I was going to ramble on to Labuan Bajo, which is also known as Komodo, LBJ. And then I was going to come home in that whole scheme as well. In my vision, I was planning on staying in Jakarta for several days, and then I was going to go to Bali. I was able to buy flights in advance after doing some dancing, but as I danced more, the story will be more interesting as I tell you how things worked out in the end, because I got to try all of the different options that are presented to you. The thing is, I didn't like Jakarta. It was smoggy, and the traffic scared me. People just drive very, very fast, and they use the other side of the road in Indonesia, and then there were protests. I learned while I was there that protests happen like clockwork every time the state raises the price of gas, and that's what happened while I was there. For me, my time off is very valuable, so I didn't plan on sitting in my hotels for several days. I just got up and I decided to go to Bali and have better times there. Of course, I was not able to make changes to my flights online. At first, I tried to just throw my cares and my budget out the window and buy a new flight from scratch. I wasn't able to buy it from the airline because of the same problems you're probably facing now. They were not able to process my payments. I even called my bank and I said, "Bank, give him my money." My bank said, "Hey man, it's not me." So it wasn't possible to pay. I learned that you need a credit card from Indonesia to be able to do that. And I've also learned that you need to have a visa in Indonesia to be able to get a credit card. So You're probably not going to do that unless you happen to have a old friend who's already there. It did give me the option to pay at an ATM along with a code that would expire if I didn't pay in time. So I took my reservation code and I decided to try. I called a Grab, which are the equivalent to Uber in Indonesia, and then I went to the ATMs at the airport. I was in an airport hotel. It was not too far to go to the airport, and I expected that if things didn't go perfectly, then, I could go deal with the airport people themselves. Using an ATM was an interesting experience. The ATM itself was built inside of a glass house, but people crowded around the doors and they looked through the glass and watched everything that I did, and they were very, very impatient. After clicking through the options a few times and failing to be able to pay for my flight, I selected a pushy person who seemed like he was a nice guy that understood the local language. After he attempted the same things that I had done, we both concluded you need to have a local bank to be able to buy a flight at an ATM when you are in Indonesia. I was exasperated. I pushed past the crowd and stormed through the airports. It's built kind of like a donut with concentric rings, and the office I needed to get to was closer to the middle. I had to go past airport security to get there. The front desk was the check-in counter. That was the first one that I went to, and then they direct me to a customer service desk that was sort of built over in the corner. It had 2 windows, 5 employees, and 1 person who worked both windows. The other employees seemed to have the task of running the printer and stamping some things when they were handed to them. I waited for my turn. I was very tired, but people pushed past me just to get to the window, and in time, I learned how to push too. I told the man at the window that I wanted to change my flight, and after we talked through things a lot, and he told me I had to pay the extra cost, which is, obvious, he was able to book the flight, and it worked. The extra cost was you're buying a flight for tomorrow, just like anywhere else, and paying a little bit of a premium. But it worked. He was able to get me a ticket. It was printed from a dot matrix paper, the kind with the holes on the sides. It said, "This is not a ticket," but I took it to the airport and they accepted it. You could do the same thing. If you're in Indonesia, the people at the customer service desk in the airport can help you to get a ticket. It's your first option. Your other option, that's a lot less painless, is to buy it on a website from a third party, just like I said in the beginning. It'll work, and you won't cry so much.